Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we're going to be playing around in some Standard with a casual best of one list. I don't know if it's casual or not. It's basically where I feel safe playing it anyway. We're going to be playing around with Titan's Nest. Titan's Nest being a 4-mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you look at the top card of your library and you may put that card into your graveyard. You can then use its activate ability by exiling a card from your graveyard to add one colourless, but you can only spend this to cast spells with one or more colours without X in their mana cost. Basically, our entire deck gets the mechanic Delve. For those who don't know what Delve is, basically, you exile cards from your graveyard to reduce the cost of an expensive spell. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be dropping down the Titan's Nest and trying to use it to do something that is 9 times out of 10 a bad idea in Magic the Gathering, which is hard casting Shark Typhoons, 6-mana enchantment. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you put an XX blue shark creature token with flying onto the battlefield where X is that spell's mana value. You can also cycle it to make a shark in the early game as well if you want to save life from a couple of creatures by blocking. That is certainly an option, or even find your land drops or removal from the cycle. But this is a hard cast Shark Typhoon deck, and that makes me very excited. I love hard casting Shark Typhoons. Once we've got the Shark Typhoon down, we also want to try and take extra turns with Alrund's Epiphany, which is a 7-mana sorcery. Gives you the extra turn, exiles itself, and then creates 2 bird tokens as well. With a Shark Typhoon out, that is going to make a 7-drop as well, a 7/7 Shark. So basically the optimal thing we want to be doing is dropping down Titan's Nest as early as we feel comfortable doing it, and then hopefully we get to untap with 3 blue mana, or have 3 blue mana already ready to go. We drop down the Shark Typhoon, we take our extra turn, and then we go from there. Once we've got the Titan's Nest down and it's locked down, and we've got a Shark Typhoon, that's basically the game over in a nutshell. Short of our opponent dealing with one or the other in time for us to not get value out of them. And, you know, there's obviously going to be a couple of matchups where hard casting an enchantment's not just going to win you the game, but in best of one, you tend to not have too much enchantment removal, so once they're down, they're staying down. We do also have Professor Onyx as a one-of fun-of, which is a card I'm not too hot on. A lot of people do enjoy this card. I don't enjoy it so much, but it is a very good fit for this list, so we're going to be running it as a one-off. It's a 6-mana 5 loyalty planeswalker with a passive, Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So we can get Professor Onyx down for 2 mana with our Titan's Nest, which is really cool. And the +1 is basically what our deck is trying to do, which makes it actually really suitable for this list. We lose 1 life. We look at the top 3 cards of our library, put 1 into our hand, the rest go into our graveyard to help our Titan's Nest cost reduce our spells, which I think is pretty awesome. The -3 says each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls, so get rid of the biggest thing on board, simple enough. And then the -8 is a nice little win con. Each opponent may discard a card, and if they don't, they lose 3 life, and you do this 6 times. So that should probably close out the game if we get there. And something we can do with Professor Onyx and Titan's Nest is get this down dirt cheap and then take an extra turn, and then try and chain extra turns so that we can keep ticking up all the way to that ultimate. Definitely an option available to us. We do have 1 Seagate Restoration as a land drop, and also a 7-mana sorcery that draws cards equal to the number of cards we have in hand +1, and gives us no maximum hand size. Probably not too relevant, the max hand size part. It depends on the state of our hand at any given time, I suppose. But yeah, the rest of the deck is going to be kind of a Dimir control shell. The only green spell in our deck is Titan's Nest and Kahira as well, so like we want like a single green most of the time, but a double green for Kahira being hard cast occasionally isn't too bad. But yeah, we're a Dimir control list that finds all of its pieces by mostly self-milling. So removal-wise, we've got Eliminates, and we've got Heartless Acts, Extinction Events, and 2 Shadows Verdicts, so we're going to be blowing up the board a little bit with all of these, as well as just single target removal with the Eliminate and the Heartless Act. Unsure which ones are more suitable in today's Standard. I don't play too much Standard these days, so maybe Eliminate's better, maybe a 3-3 split is better, who knows. Thirst for Meaning, allows us to draw 3, discard 2 unless we discard an enchantment card, so we can discard the Shark Typhoons or the Titan's Nest. Got to keep in mind though, we don't interact with our graveyard except for via exile, so whatever you do discard here, you are going to lose, so got to keep that in mind when you discard your Titan's Nest or your Shark Typhoons. Obviously there's a few situations where discarding your win cons is actually a good idea because you don't plan to cast them on the next few turns, for example. But you got to keep in mind that Titan's Nest really does want to be getting played into one of either Shark Typhoon or Alrund's Epiphany, so when you're discarding, just keep that in mind. We've got 4 copies of Strategic Planning and 2 copies of Curate from Strixhaven. Strategic Planning allows us to look at 3 cards, 1 into our hand, the rest into our graveyard. Curate kind of does the same thing. It's a 2-mana instant, looks at the top 2 cards. We get to put them into our graveyard if we want, and then we get to shuffle the top 2 cards of our library that we had looked at. So if we like the 2 cards, we get to keep them and draw one of them. Otherwise, we can mill them both and then take a mystery card off the top, which is really nice. So it's a bit of a weird one. I'm not sure how much Strategic Planning and Curate compare to one another, since this is sorcery speed, this is instant speed. It does obviously have a little bit of additional value by that metric, but I'm not sure. And finally, 2 copies of Negate, because again, State Control Mirror, if we don't really have a way of slamming down Titan's Nest and playing Shark Typhoons for 1 mana, then we don't really have a game against control. So a couple of copies of Negate here allow us to fight through counter magic. Hopefully we're going to find an opponent who thinks that we don't actually have this level of interaction, leaves up a 1 counter spell, and that allows us to fight over it and then just dump our board into play and win the game. Because once Titan's Nest is down alongside Shark Typhoon, the game is usually over. So if we can get to that point, then fantastic. The mana base is pretty simple. It's just Sultai colors. We do have Fable Passages in here, which allow us to thin the deck for 1, getting our basics out of our deck, but also they add a card to our graveyard, which is really super useful. Kahira, as we've mentioned, is in the deck. He's basically just a free card. It doesn't really serve any purpose other than being a 3/2 that we can call upon to not die later on in the game. But yeah, I guess I've got a pack here, so we might as well open a pack and see what's in there. Almost got a Mythic Wildcard. Fantastic. Pestilent Cauldron. 3 mana, discard a card. Put a 1/1 black and green pest creature token. Wow, that's bad. Each opponent mills a card equal to the amount of life you gain this turn. Maybe good, but probably bad. Exile 4 cards from a single graveyard, draw a card. That's the only good part about that I've read so far. And even then it's expensive. 5 mana sorcery, return up to 2 creatures, lands, or planeswalker cards from your graveyard to your hand. Each player gains 4 life, exile it. Meh. Then we got a Sign in Blood. I was thinking about this card today, actually. Maybe doing a Phyrexian Obliterator list, and then Sign in Blood seems like a perfectly reasonable card. Maybe even Death Shadow. Seems okay. Anyway, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. If you do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe when you feel like you've enjoyed it. I would really appreciate if you do that. It helps out the algorithm a great deal and helps me recoup from the day I took off YouTube, which YouTube doesn't like. So I really would appreciate it. All the support you can give me does help out a great deal. But yeah, enjoy the gameplay, guys, and have fun. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Okay, we go first. 3 lander with 1 removal spell, a board wipe, and some cycling to be done. It's not exactly the best hand, but it will do. It'll do. Alright, let's go black on Pathway here. Opponent with the snow-covered island usually only means one thing, which is the blue-red dragons list. Eliminate should be pretty good against like turn 2 Dorat here. Foretells a Saw It Coming or a Behold the Multiverse. Good to know. Let's put this on green, so we've got all 3 colors now. We can make an XX, a 1/1 Shark Typhoon, I suppose, if our opponent does nothing here. So a redraw and a threat in play. They do have a Frostbite as a removal source, so it wouldn't surprise me to see that. Well, let's send it, see if we need to use the Eliminate. If our opponent plans on doing nothing, then a 1/1 is a legitimate threat for at least a little while. Let's get this on black. Don't need more than 1 green source. So I could foretell an Epiphany and strategic planning, or hold up and eliminate. I'll make a 2/2 Shark Typhoon. I kind of want to keep the other Shark Typhoon around, to be honest. So I think I'll just go strategic planning here. Grab the card we're looking for, which is Titan's Nest. And foretell the Epiphany. We're going to want to wait until we've got a negate in hand, I think, to slam the Titan's Nest. Otherwise, this matchup's going to be pretty miserable. 2 to the top. Probably found some red mana if I had to guess. Oh, wait. Dimir control, maybe? Well, now this is a sight coming. I'm almost convinced of it at this stage. We're definitely not going to be playing Titan's Nest into that. More blue, please. Triple blue is kind of the amount we're looking for here. At this point, I'm just going to cycle into the Shark Typhoon, I think. Rather than play anything into this. Oh, yeah. 100% now it's control. Okay. Foretells again. And we will cycle. So we've got a couple of dead cards in this matchup. Namely, Eliminates and probably Extinction Events to a certain extent as well. Another Epiphany. So I'm not sure how we're gonna get this nest to resolve. My hope is that these sharks force our opponent to tap out, but Sight Coming only costs 2 mana, and I'm sure the removal isn't that cheap. Or that expensive, should I say. I could force one out by casting my Epiphany. Maybe that's the line. Yeah. Let's force it out. It doesn't necessarily force it out because Extinction Event sweeps the board as well. But I was pretty confident that we're going to take that bait. Probably an Eliminate on the 3/3 now. A Blood Chief's Thirst. Sure. Passes, we will foretell, we'll hit our opponent again. As we said, we're not going to try and drop this Titan's Nest until we can protect it. So I might as well even put the Kahira into my hand here as another threat that they have to answer. This will be a Behold then, I guess. It's really the only 2 cards that you expect to see from a deck that foretells. Interesting. Well, we've got use for an Eliminate now, so that's nice. Removal we've had stuck in hand suddenly has a purpose. Ooh, spare Titan's Nest. Well, let's swing for 1 first, because if they have another Shark Typhoon, they might want to cycle it and put it in the way. And then we'll probably rather eliminate that one. Bait out a potential counter. They didn't mind. We only have 1 green source, unfortunately, for the Kahira. I mean, this is just a guaranteed counter, so I don't really care to throw that under the bus, because they could just cycle a Shark Typhoon here and then I can eliminate with my turn. Graven Law. Ugh. Oh dear. Scry 3, draw 3. 2 top, 1 bottom. Now, discarding hand size at this rate, though, so they want to probably drop something good down. And if I get to Titan's Nest plus Epiphany, this game could just be over. Hence why I'm guessing they don't want to do that. Letting that happen seems like not a great idea. Alright, Thirst, we can get rid of some dead cards here. Shadow's Verdict, I don't know if it has a purpose. Yeah, not in this matchup, not really. We'll get rid of 1 Extinction Event as well. Play an Island. Swing for 1 with the Eliminate open. And then plan on going for Thirst for Meaning. 10 cards in our yard right now. Still looking for the negate. It's going to be the important card here. I'm hoping that basically they play with a single counter open at all times, not double counters. This is Scry 4, draw 3. Draw 3. So if it's just a single counter, then we can make the Titan's Nest resolve, and if we can do that, we could probably play an Epiphany off of the remaining mana at the stage that it looks like we're going to be playing it, at least. Crawling Barrens. A legitimate threat right now. Actually, no, not a legitimate threat, we've got to eliminate. No, my only threat. Probably passing, yep. So we go Thirst. Third Titan's Nest. Alright, well, Fabled Passage down. Extinction Event down. Extinction Event doesn't hit Crawling Barrens, so it's pretty useless to us. Alright, now I'm probably interested in just, like, slamming Titan's Nests over and over again until one sticks. Question is, do I fight over it with a negate? I don't think I do. Not until, like, the next Titan's Nest, at least. Because our opponent could have a saw it coming here, and then I kind of lose the counter war, they drop down a big old threat that I would probably rather be negating, and then we lose. This is 4 to activate, so they can't do that. They had something they could play, though. I'd cast Shark Typhoon. We say no. They fight over it, then we maybe win. Alright. Tap out. Okay. Let's see what we can do. So, we have a Titan's Nest. We have a Titan's Nest into an Onyx, into an Epiphany. It's pretty good. Yeah, just check in. All of that math adds up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we punished the tap out, basically. Our opponent got greedy. They thought we couldn't do anything with our turn, and that proved to be quite false. Another Epiphany. Love it. So, extra turn. I think we actually win. Get rid of all this. Opponent's at 9. Curate. Yeah, we'll take a Curate. I mean, it's just a... Oh! Oh, patience. Patience is all that is required to beat our opponent. So, Yeah, you know when people say like 9 times out of 10 you shouldn't hardcast your Shark Typhoons? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this is probably one of those situations. I'd like to imagine our opponent has a negate in hand and they didn't think they were going to use it. But they got impatient, they thought that they could hardcast a Shark Typhoon. They thought I cared enough to fight over it in a counter war and made it resolve, and then, yeah, we punished them. It's pretty good. So, like, this turn we were going to take an extra turn, drain for 2, that takes them to 7, 6, 5 with the tokens. And then next turn we hit them for 4, take them down to 1, and then any spell we play, Onyx kills them. Good stuff. Good stuff. Alright, we go first. A little bit of removal, Titan's Nest to work up to double extinction event against Cryptic Command Sleeves. Maybe not so useful, but yeah, we'll go with it. Could be a sleeve-based bluff, who knows? It is. Look at that. Beautiful. Alright, so we got strategic planning, or we can kill the Jaspera Sentinel. The Sentinel does probably allow them to ramp into something, so I would say it's probably worth killing. We're in no rush to really, like, super turbo fill up our graveyard. Necessarily. If they're a green-white list, then I guess they've got maybe, like, Skyclave Apparition to kill Titan's Nest, so we want to play Nest on the same turn that we can do another spell, perhaps. Edgewall Innkeeper. Alright, so let's just do strategic planning. I've already got 4 lands. Let's just take a Heartless Act. Probably won't end up using it, mind you, but the option's available. Alright, put the Pathway on black. Titan's Nest is our only green spell, so we only need 1 green source. We're not really gonna... Ugh. Not really gonna double spell very often. Well, that's spooky. I think it's safe to go Titan's Nest here. Let's thin the deck. Double extinction event. I'm not that afraid of Felidar Retreat. Let's go blue source, so we can potentially do double blue for Epiphany plus Shark Typhoon, you know. Lines like that are stuff we're looking for. So we got a 5 cost reduction in our graveyard right now. Not that we particularly need it with the cards that we have. Gonna do counters. Wonderful. So here's hoping they play another odd creature, because that means we can get super value on the event. Boo Hiss. Alright. That's gonna put a bit of a damper on things. How odd. Alright, thin the deck. Yeah, that's kind of, I guess a good example of why we shouldn't have played Titan's Nest until we could use it. But you don't really see rip apart too much. I'm assuming they're going to go 2/2 cat, yep. And we draw a land. Well, blue source, we're going to hold open Heartless Act for their next land drop, which we'll probably want to put counters on their creatures, so let's just make it kind of a terrible line. Gotta use these Heartless Acts up as early as possible, because Felidar Retreat's gonna invalidate the crap out of them. Alright, so what do we want? We could... Well... It's not really a thing I want, but... Put this on green. Get Kahira out. It'd be a chump blocker. Or a stomp target, I suppose. More than likely. Edgewall Innkeeper. And then Hardcast Giant Killer. Double land. Well, I'm going to chump block. I'm probably going to Shadow's Verdict. They're going to get a 2-2 from the Fable Passage. Which I can eliminate, apparently. So that's not too bad. Yeah, we want to basically just try and stay alive here. So here comes the passage. We will eliminate the creature. I guess actually no, we won't. We'll wait. We're going to wait because if they go land counters, then we get more value. We also get more value on a Clarion Spirit, so... This isn't even. Okay, so actually I'm just going to go event on even. Because if they hit a giant killer, then I would probably want to hit that with the eliminate. And it goes counters. We'll take 3. And there's Alrund's Epiphany. Alright, so let's foretell that. And then Extinction Event on even. Running a little bit out of value, but... feel mostly confident we can be okay here. So they don't have double red, which means they can't do Stomp plus Bone Crusher. Toski. Toski's a pretty decent punish for me using Extinction Event last turn. I don't think it was necessarily incorrect to do it. Dranith Magistrate means I can't use Epiphany until I kill it. And we're going to basically skip our draw step. Strategic Planning, gets Shark Typhoon, or Extinction Event. We're going to need it for the Toski, aren't we? So let's kill the Magistrate. Yeah, opponent's just going to draw a million cards here. And also deal a horrendous amount of damage to us, because every single spell is going to put 2 counters on their creatures. We actually might just be dead. Yeah. I mean, we kind of drew our deck in the wrong order, honestly. We got 1 Titan's Nest, which got immediately dealt with, which... punishable, obviously, in certain scenarios, for sure. Yeah. But most of the stuff that we drew was just removal. Like, if we could have maybe hard cast a Shark Typhoon and then done some stuff, that might have been okay, but like hard casting Shark Typhoon just into a second rip apart doesn't seem great either. Yeah, just didn't quite get a footing on that game at any point, really. We're just constantly on the back foot. Oh well, next game. Alrighty, on the play, we've got 2 of the cards we want to see. Not really necessarily right now, but we want to see them, so it's nice to have them. We're going to keep this hand, it's got a 3-lander as well. Actually, no, we're going to lead with a Fable Passage here, I think. I might have a 2-drop I want to play, so we're going to go and grab black with the Fable Passage. Selfless Savior to lead. Yeah, I mean, if I can eliminate that or Heartless Actor, I'm totally fine with that, I think. If not, I'll play my Triumph tapped to set up Thirst for Meaning on 3. Want to make the 4th land for the Extinction Event. Blue-white. Huh. Auras in Standard. Fascinating. Put this on blue. And pass the turn. Gonna thirst end step into Extinction Event most likely, so let's see a 3-drop from our opponent. I doubt that will be the case though. If anything, they're like 1s and 2s, so they'll probably be playing like the 2-mana 1/2 flyer, whatever it's called. The enchantment thingamajig. Well, Thirst could hit me an Eliminate or a Heartless Act. That's also pretty reasonable. Lofty Denial. Oh, gutted for you. I drew my land anyway. Odd. Alright, good to know that we have to play around counters unless you pay 1. So, slamming Titan's Nest next turn is probably not a thing. No, maybe it is a thing. It's Legion Angel. The problem with doing that is we open ourselves up to Skyclave Apparition and we don't get to use the Titan's Nest. So I think I might just Foretell. Put this on blue. If we draw a blue source, we can go Nest plus Epiphany, I think. Not quite, we've only got 3 cards in our yard. Well, we can Extinction Event, I suppose. And try and kill the Legion Angel. If they have another Lofty Denial, it's not exactly going to work, but... No, it's actually going to work. Let's get this on black. I mean, we could go Nest into Event. I think Nest Event is okay. Uses some of our graveyard value, mind you, but it allows us to get a Nest down. And that's some value. So 4-2, we want to go even. And Nest, obviously, by itself, fills up a little bit of the graveyard as well. So I think our best draws are basically the ones that allow us to fill the graveyard some more. Oh, graveyard the land. Heartless Act. Let's eat the graveyard. One more time. Means we can do Epiphany plus Heartless Act. Destroy a creature with no counters on it. 2 mana removal for a 5 mana threat. Curate, that's a card we're looking for. Let's take that. So, Curate. Another Titan's Nest. Honestly, I think I'll play that. Worst thing they can do is like Skyclave Apparition, so if that's the worst they can do, just playing a Titan's Nest comes with very little risk and quite a fair bit of upside. We get to mill 2 now. With an Epiphany, like we're looking for Shark Typhoon or Professor Onyx at this stage. Thirst for Meaning. Gonna graveyard the first one. Negates. Gonna graveyard that as well. That's a Heartless Act. Suppose we will attempt to hit that. That exposes no Lofty Denial to me, personally. So I'm going to take an extra turn and do this all over again. The value you get out of a Titan's Nest is pretty just insane on its own. Alright. Nope. 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 Okay. That's pretty awful. Let's do this on green. Play Kahira. Swing. I actually wonder if there's a way I could have paid the companion cost there and still played Kahira. I'm sure there probably was. Actually, no, there wasn't. I would have always had to play the pathway. Alright, another 4-3 for them in play. I'll mill the first one pretty much every time. There you go. That's what you're looking for. So they can't deal with the Titan's Nest, so just goes to show they probably can't deal with the hardcast Shark Typhoon either. Let me make sure it actually resolves, though. So let's mill 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. This means I can pay for Lofty Denial if that's the card that they have in hand. Which it appears it is not. I am going to swing. I want to get some pressure on. So they can get the 4 damage in now. I guess there's a world where they can, like, all the glitters and chain together some auras. So maybe this isn't a good attack. Not too sure, but pretty much anything I produce here will actually make flyers to block the Legion Angels anyway, so I'm not too concerned. Nope. Nope. Strategic planning's pretty good. That's a 2-2. Plus another 2-2. Let's get rid of one of the Legion Angels. And I think I'll just get him with Kihira, honestly. 28 cards. We want to see Alrund's Epiphanies, Professor Onyx's, all of that good stuff. Our attack is officially over now, thanks to the Baneslayer Angel, but that's okay. We'll do that. No, we won't. We'll do that and that. I can almost guarantee we're going to get another shark anyway, because of the Surveil tool, we'll call it, from the Titan's Nest. Leaves me with a 1-1 blocker to block the Baneslayer Angel. Guaranteed, so they need removal for the 1-1 if they want to even attempt a kill. I could put this on odd and kill the Baneslayer, but I think I can do better than that. Another Titan's Nest. Makes a 4-4. Does make a 4-4. How many cards have I got left? 27? No. I think I want to get myself... Ooh, look at that. A very good chance of... And again, we're going to play around Lofty Denial. So I need to get rid of... How many? 2 more? Give myself the best chance of this resolving. Gives me a 6-6, and then... Single enchantment removal spell's no longer a problem. I've got a blocker now that can kill Baneslayer Angel and attack through it. So now any of my big spells are just absolutely insane. They do have a Rogrim Triumph over there, so I do wonder if the red is relevant. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume it isn't. Battlefield Raptor. Daybreak Chimera. And another. Okay. This is a board state. I'm officially looking at a board state. If it doesn't make sharks, I'm not interested. If it kills only my sharks and nothing else, I'm not interested. Curate. 2 2/2s, please. I will take the Titan's Nest. I'm going to dump the land, though. 2 4/4s, please. Swing for 6. So what gets me here? Pump spell plus I'll Seed of Life's Bounty, I guess. That would get me. Block. Gonna get to choose how this happens. A 4/4 and a 1/1 die. And then the Baneslayer, that's basically the only threat on their board right now, also dies. Alright, we Surveil 3. Yep, I'll take that. 2 7/7s works for me just fine. So we trade basically with everything here. I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. I think we'll leave it at that, honestly. So like they can profitably block a 4/4, but if they block with anything else, it goes back down to a 4/4 and dies. I know I'm making a 7/7, so... or 2 7/7s. So my board stays pretty secure. Plus whatever I draw off the Seagate as well produces some more for me. Like, this Kahira is doing nothing for me against the Flyers list, so, like... free 10 points of damage is totally fine. If that's what it costs. Okay. I don't think there's a world where I die here. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Gives me a 3-mana Seagate Restoration, making 2 7/7s. Draw a card. It's a Fabled Passage. 18 cards left. I don't actually know how many lands I've got left in my deck, but I suppose I should thin anyway. Go an island, pass a turn. 4 blockers to their 4 attackers. We're at 17 cards remaining. Still looking for that Professor Onyx or that Alrund's Epiphany. Thank you. Appreciate that. Alright, again, they can basically only have a pay 4 here, so let's exile 3 cards. If we're not going to use the graveyard for this, then what are we using it for? This should secure the victory. So, extra turn. 2 7/7s. Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that concession right there. Pretty good. Pretty good. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you've enjoyed, and if you have, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It helps out the channel a great deal, lets me know what kind of content you're interested in seeing, and most of all, lets the algorithm goblins have their peace, and maybe they'll like my channel. Who knows? Either way though, take care guys, and have a wonderful night.